You're watching Alabama Broadcasters Station of the Year. Coverage you can count on. WAAY 31 Midday News starts now.
Plenty of sunshine here in North Alabama, but those temperatures sure are heating up. I've got a full forecast for you coming up.
And a sign of hope as families see videos of the two Alabama men believed to be held hostage by Russia, where officials believe they're being held. And a long wait finally over for some parents as kids under the age of 5 are now eligible for a COVID vaccine. Why a local infectious disease expert says they're not really needed at this time. Thank you so much for joining us on WAAY 31 Midday News. I'm Alex Torres-Perez. We want to go straight to WAAY 31 meteorologist Grace Anello. Those dangerously hot temperatures are not going away anytime soon. What can we expect for today?
Yeah, Alex, you're exactly right. Those dangerously high temperatures in store for quite some time. Right now, however, in Huntsville, temperatures in the mid-80s. Over in Muscle Shoals, the same. Scottsboro, you're a little bit cooler, catching a break there. You are in the low 80s, so lunchtime temperatures not all that bad, honestly. Our WAAY 31 storm tracker early morning radar network completely clear, not picking up on a storm or a rain system anywhere in the area, and I, for one, am thankful. All right, now we've got a little bit of a breeze in the area. Most of us talking, well, between 5 and 10 miles an hour, so not necessarily cooling us off, but it is moving some air through the area, so it's helping us stay slightly pleasant for your lunchtime. Getting you at 1 p.m. temperatures there, we rise to 90, so we will be heating up awfully quickly this afternoon. By the time we get to 2 p.m., we're talking 93. Now, if you're anything like me and there's one thing that you need, it's an iced coffee today. Our high temperature going to be in the mid-90s. I'm going to say get the large today because, well, I want you to save the extra large for later this week. Mainly on Thursday and Wednesday and Thursday, we're talking temperatures in triple digits there. I've got more coming up.
Thanks, Grace. Well, new details on 2 Alabama men who were captured while helping Ukraine fight off Russia. The Russian state media reports Andy Tywin of Hartsel and Alexander Druki of Tuscaloosa are being held in the town of Donetsk in Ukraine. The area is controlled by Russian-backed separatists. Officials say that they did not comment on the detention of Druki or when. Still, Alex's mom says she's hopeful and keeping some of his words in mind. She says that he used to tell her, you just have to embrace the suck when they used to go hiking. And because of that, she's keeping those words in mind. And she says that she's trusting the process as the State Department is in contact with the families every day as they work to confirm where both men are and to work to bring them back home. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says they should expect greater hostile activity from Russia. This as the European Union considers adding Ukraine to the alliance. EU leaders say will meet this week to discuss the process. And another deadly holiday weekend across the U.S. as lawmakers try to work on a gun reform bill on Capitol Hill. ABC's Rena Roy goes over the latest shootings and what lawmakers. It's unclear if a vote will take place this week, but the framework has enough Republican support to pass the Senate. That is, if lawmakers agree to the bill's details. New at midday, 3 teenagers died in a wreck in Lawrence County, Tennessee Sunday evening. Another teen was injured in the crash. State troopers say the 17-year-old driver overcorrected and lost control of the car. None of the teens were wearing seatbelts. Kids under the age of 5 could start getting their COVID shots as soon as today. Now, this comes after the CDC authorized both Pfizer's and Moderna's vaccine this weekend. But a local infectious disease expert told me toddlers and infants here in Alabama don't really need the vaccine at this time.
At the moment, probably we don't need it.
Infectious disease expert Dr. Ali Hassoun says kids under the age of 5 can hold off on getting a COVID vaccine. That's because Alabama isn't seeing as big of a surge in COVID cases as we had in the past.
I'm hoping it's gonna stay like that.
But Dr. Hassoun warns that could change.
If we get an increase in the numbers more, or we get more aggressive virus or mutations, significant exposures happen around school time and stuff, that can change.
But at this moment, that's not happening. So he encourages parents to weigh the benefits and risks and to take precautions now to avoid the spread.
Of course, you hope you get rid of the virus and no more, but reality, we just still living with it, but we need to maneuver around and be careful, basically. I think if we having that much community spread, we need to be reasonable just to be on the safe side.
Many parents have voiced their concerns about the vaccine's safety.
If we say a couple years go by and it becomes effective and no bad, reaction towards it, then maybe. But like for right now, no.
But Dr. Hassoun assures them the vaccines are safe and effective. Reporting in Huntsville, Torres-Perez, WAAY 31 News. Now, some providers were able to pre-order doses since late winter, but others are actually placing their orders either tomorrow or Wednesday. At this time, the state health department doesn't have an exact number of vaccine doses for kids under 5. Now, this new authorization comes as about 1 out of 5. Every out of 5 COVID tests are coming back positive. The state health department reported more than 6,300 new COVID cases in the last week. All of North Alabama and most of the state is considered to be at a high risk for community transmission. Now, today is the first time Juneteenth is being widely observed with closures of federal agencies, banks, and more. The official holiday was actually yesterday on a Sunday, so the closures are happening today. Juneteenth became a federal holiday last year on June 17th, and because of that short notice, many organizations didn't have time to actually prepare for it. Now, the holiday commemorates when enslaved people in Galveston, Texas learned of their freedom 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. Several events were held across North Alabama this weekend to celebrate.
Juneteenth has always meant a lot to me. As I went through history classes growing up, we always talked about the 4th of July, but I wasn't free on the 4th of July, at least my ancestors weren't. So it's good to have a celebration of our people, yeah.
Now, the state legislature must pass a law for Juneteenth to become a permanent official state holiday. In less than 24 hours, people will head back to the polls for the Alabama primary runoff election. Candidates are making their last-minute stops across the state today, hoping to lure any undecided voters. You can see some of the races that you will be choosing on your screen. Polls open at 7 tomorrow morning. And we want to make sure you're prepared before you head to the polls. You can find a sample ballot with all the candidates you'll be able to choose from on our website, WAAYTV.com, or head to our news app, WAAY 31 News. And a deadly shooting at a church in Alabama is leaving other members concerned for their safety. How local law enforcement agencies are making sure they feel safe. Plus, bombshell revelations on what happened at a school massacre in Texas. What we just learned and when we can expect a preliminary investigative report.
And a beautiful day shaping up here in North Alabama, albeit warm. I'm timing out the rest of your day and next week. Stay with us.
Coverage you can count on. You're watching WAAY 31 News with the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network.
New at midday, a preliminary investigative report into the Texas school massacre will be released next month. This as the New York Times reports that an officer actually hesitated to shoot the gunman that eventually killed 19 kids and 2 teachers. Now, the newspaper says the officer didn't take the shot because he didn't want to hurt any kids. A Texas House committee is investigating what happened and officers' response. The Uvalde Police Department is set to testify this week. The preliminary report should be ready by mid-July. And the community is coming together after a deadly church shooting last week. St. Stephen's Episcopal Church in Vestavia Hills held its first service on Sunday. That's after 3 of their members were shot and killed at a potluck dinner. The church's priests delivered a message of love and healing while remembering their loved ones.
In the midst of tragedy, it's not hatred or a clinging on to power or control or a posture of defensiveness that are emerging, but unprecedented compassion and love is what is breaking through.
Funeral services for the 3 killed will be held on Wednesday and Thursday. Now, right now, the suspect, 70-year-old Robert Smith, is in jail charged with capital murder. Police say he occasionally attended services, and ABC News reports Smith is a licensed firearm dealer. ATF records show his business is listed at his home address. And the shooting left churches and church members across the state concerned for their safety. Law enforcement agencies like Huntsville Police, Athens Police, and the Morgan County Sheriff's Office are now offering safety training. The goal is to make sure that they have a plan in case of an active shooter.
Unfortunately, the best church security won't stop everything. But what you have to do is put yourself in the best position to catch as much as you can.
Police say church or business owners that are interested only need to call to set up a safety training session. Many people are finally able to get to their destinations after a weekend of mass flight cancellations and delays. What caused those problems? The U.S. Secretary of Transportation says they may be taking action against airlines on behalf of customers. This comes after thousands of cancellations this weekend. Airlines say it was because of rough weather, staff shortages, and infrastructure challenges. But it's not expected to get better anytime soon.
I think that these problems will last into the early winter, possibly even into the middle of next year, because it just takes airlines time to hire and train critical employees like pilots. So what does this mean? The summer of 2022 is going to be travel hell.
Now, summer is already looking exceptionally busy. TSA officers say that they screened more than 2 million people last Friday, and that's the highest checkpoint volume since the Sunday after Thanksgiving. And we have a traffic alert for anyone looking to kayak or boat in the Flint Creek. You will not be able to travel through the section along Highway 67 near Point Mallard in Decatur. Decatur utility workers will be putting up new power lines there. The work is expected to last today until 5. It will also be shut down starting at 8 tomorrow morning.
And good afternoon, Gunnersville.
Yes, I mean, we were just talking about that waterway, kayaking, boating. It is really the perfect time to be out there in the water.
Yes, it is. It is. Well, and temperature's not too bad right now, Alex. Unfortunately, they will get a little warmer, but right now, Scottsboro 82, Gunnersville 81, Decatur 86, and well, Muscle Shoals, you're the same. So again, not terrible. Temperatures hanging out in the mid 80s for most of us. WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network, completely dry, completely clear. We've been running on this for a couple days here. Now, look at these cute little doggos. If you're taking them on a walk, well, the best time to do it probably going to be earlier this morning or earlier this afternoon, really before the heat of the day. At noon, we're talking temperatures in the upper 80s, but by the time we get to 2 p.m., look at that, 93 degrees. So it will be warm. Plenty of sunshine, but it will be warm. Maybe just the perfect day for the pool. Our high temperature today, 94, and since that humidity is out of the way, well, it'll be hot, but it won't necessarily be too sticky. So as long as you've got some water to take with you and, of course, some sunblock, you should be good to go. Your sunburn time, about 15 minutes today, so definitely make sure you have that SPF on because, well, you can get a burn pretty quick. All right, now I want to let you know, humidity out of the way for quite some time. It does come back just a little bit tomorrow morning. That early morning when you first wake up is always the most humid part of the day. But hang with me because the good news is as we head into the late afternoon, early evening tomorrow, that humidity pushes back south and we become pleasant again. So I'm sure you're all excited about that. Following that, we will have a little bit of cloud cover tomorrow in the afternoon. But the good news is by the time we get to about 4 p.m., that's pushed out of the way for us. Now, the big story here has been the heat and our high temperatures for tomorrow really following right along with that story. We're talking 100 in Huntsville, 97 in Decatur, 101 in Moulton. So make sure you're staying hydrated, taking frequent breaks inside, things like that. Our heat indexes for the next couple days could be nearing 105. Wednesday and Thursday, we're talking about those possibly being the hottest days of the year so far. So those heat indexes really are going to be high. Again, stay hydrated. Make sure you take your breaks inside. This is North Alabama in June, people. I know we all know what to do, but I just want to let you know. All right, so your 7-day forecast looks like this. Monday, really kind of the last bearable day of the week. That high temperature there in the mid 90s. As we push further into the week, we move to the upper 90s. Check out Wednesday and Thursday. Temperatures near 100 there. The sunshine sticks around, but so does the heat. The good news, we won't be overly humid. So that's nice. As long as that humidity stays out of the way, I think we're okay. But take heart, if we can make it to Saturday and Sunday. Ironically enough, those temperatures dip back down into the upper 90s. And hey, listen, we'll take what we can get. Your overnight lows in the low 70s, not half bad.
Thank you, Grace. Well, the final test before heading to the moon. We go over the latest in the Artemis 1 wet dress rehearsal next. Well, happening right now, the final test for the Artemis 1 rocket is taking place. We're going to give you a live look from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. This morning, the mission management team chair gave the green light to continue tanking the SLS rocket for wet dress rehearsal. The team is checking for any leaks to make sure that fueling the rocket is going as planned. They'll continue to count down as they would for an actual launch, but they'll stop just mere seconds before liftoff. And an astronomical mystery. NASA and the European Space Agency are using the Hubble Space Telescope in search for clues. It concerns this star cluster you're taking a look at right now. Scientists say the stars were all formed at around the same time in the same area, but here's the mystery. Some of the stars have a distinct chemical composition that's actually seen in older stars. Astronomers are studying the star cluster in order to try to get some answers. And scientists believe the Hubble telescope also detected a roaming black hole in our galaxy. This is an artist's rendition since black holes cannot actually be seen directly. It's about 5,000 light years away, so at least it's not that close by. But this isn't the only one roaming around our galaxy. Researchers believe there are about 100 million more in the Milky Way. The closest one to Earth is about 80 light years away with this latest discovery. Wallets are hurting as inflation raises prices, well, for everything. What the Biden administration is considering to help lower those costs.
You're watching Alabama Broadcasters Station of the Year. Coverage you can count on. WAAY 31 Midday News starts now.
Welcome back. Temperatures right now heading into lunchtime, mid-80s here in Huntsville and not a cloud in the sky.
Well, from groceries to the gas pump, everything is costing more money. What the Biden administration is considering to fight inflation. And the Capitol riot hearing set to continue this week. We break down a recent poll on how it's really influencing people's minds. Thank you so much for staying here with us on WAAY 31 Midday News. I'm Torres-Perez. We want to get started with WAAY 31 meteorologist Grace Anello. You're keeping a close eye on those hot temperatures as we near those triple digits.
Yes, that has been my job all week, Alex, but happy to be doing it. All right, temperatures right now in North Alabama, Scottsboro, 82 for you, Huntsville, 85 for you, Decatur, 86, Haleyville, 84. So in the mid-80s here, heading into lunchtime. Not too bad for us. The good news is WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network completely dry, and we do stay this way really for quite some time. Now we have a little bit of a breeze. Most of us talking, well, between 5 and 10 miles an hour there for that breeze, and it's not necessarily cooling us off, but we'll take what we can get to keep the air moving, right? Just a little bit of relief there. All right, well, your lunchtime not looking half bad if you can stand the heat. By noon, we're talking upper 80s. 1 p.m., we've officially reached that 90 mark. The sunshine definitely here to stay with us. Now, your heat of the day, well, it's going to be pretty warm for us. We're talking temperatures in the mid-90s here for your heat of the day. So if it's an ice cream cone day for you, it better also be an eat it quick kind of day. Otherwise, I think you're going to be going through some napkins. So we will be warm, but we will not be humid. Unfortunately, this is just the beginning. Check out Wednesday and Thursday, temps in triple digits.
Thank you, Grace. Well, new information, the Biden administration says it's looking at removing some tariffs on Chinese imports and a gas tax holiday in order to fight inflation. The Treasury Secretary says inflation is unacceptably high, but believes we can avoid a recession. However, economists say the odds of a recession in the next 12 months are rising. The probability is now pegged at 30%, which is double the odds from just 3 months ago. Secretary Janet Yellen says fighting inflation is their top priority.
President Biden wants to do anything he possibly can to help consumers. Gas prices have risen a great deal, and it's clearly burdening households. So he stands ready to work with Congress, and that's an idea that's certainly worth considering.
Now, President Biden is asking oil companies to ramp up production to ease the pain at the pump. He says he'll use his presidential power to demand they produce more oil if they don't do it voluntarily. Biden does plan to visit Saudi Arabia next month to talk about getting more oil from there. But in the meantime, it appears that gas prices are actually dropping both across the U.S. and here at home. Gas Buddy shows the price for a gallon of regular unleaded is down nearly 5 cents right now. In Alabama, that gallon will cost you an average of about $4.52. The national average for a gallon of gas is $5.02. And a Collinsville man is dead after a wreck in Etowah County. It happened Saturday afternoon on Interstate 59. State troopers say 25-year-old Timothy Mims died when his motorcycle went off the road and hit a cable barrier. The cause of the wreck is still under investigation. And right now, Cortland's police chief is recovering after he was hurt in a crash Friday. City leaders say Chief Dennis Sharp is sedated but breathing on his own at Huntsville Hospital. Investigators say Sharp's pickup truck struck a tractor on Highway 33. He was on duty at the time. And new at midday, a new poll reveals more Americans think the former president should face charges related to the Capitol riot. ABC polled about 500 adults about the House Select Committee hearings on the January 6th Capitol attack. It shows 58% think former President Donald Trump is responsible for the attack and should be charged after encouraging his supporters to march to the U.S. Capitol. Now, another Capitol riot hearing is scheduled for tomorrow at noon. Georgia's Secretary of State is expected to testify. Former President Trump asked him in a January 2021 phone call to, quote, find the votes necessary for him to win Georgia. The House committee chairman says he wants to hear from everyone involved in that day.
I ask those who might be on the fence about cooperating to reach out to us.
Members of the House committee say they might subpoena former Vice President Mike Pence, and you'll be able to watch these hearings live right here on WAAY 31. Once again, that's tomorrow at noon. Well, many families are on the fence on whether or not to vaccinate their infants and toddlers against COVID-19. A survey taken in April before the CDC recommendation finds that roughly 1 in 5 parents say they were eager to vaccinate their kids, but 4 out of 10 parents, 40%, say they are reluctant to vaccinate their kids right away, opting to actually wait instead.
We don't feel confident enough at this point to make that decision. We would really like to wait a little while and see what happens.
The CDC signed off on 2 COVID vaccines for kids under 5. There's Pfizer's 3-shot course over 11 weeks or Moderna's 2 shots a month apart. Happening right now, Freshpet is recalling some of its dog food because it might be contaminated with salmonella. It affects 4.5-pound bags of Freshpet Select, fresh from the kitchen, home-cooked chicken recipe. Now, to be clear, the recall is voluntary and it just involves 1 lot. You're going to want to look for the sell-by date of October 29th, 2022. You can take the dog food back to the store for a refund. At this point, Freshpet says it hasn't gotten any reports that anyone has gotten sick. And new at midday, as a kid, one of the best parts of having a sick day was staying at home on the couch and watching TV. But could too much bed rest be a bad thing? ABC News' Faith Abube goes over some of the recent research.
Gatorade, ginger ale, soup, and a favorite television show is an ideal sick day for many. Especially with the pandemic, sick days have become part of everyday talk. But recent research suggests that too many days in bed could have negative effects on mental health. A study from the University of Iceland looked at 247,249 individuals from 6 countries and found that individuals who spent 7 or more days in bed during a COVID infection were at increased risk of developing depression and trouble sleeping. The study was conducted from February 2020 to August 2021. The patients faced 50 to 60% higher prevalence of depressive symptoms and anxiety up to 16 months after infection. It was the first study to look directly at disease severity as a risk factor for mental health in COVID-19. The study did not involve participants from the U.S. With this Medical Minute, I'm Faith Abube, ABC News.
Coming up, it's win or go home for the Auburn Tigers, what they must do to win a championship.
And hey, if you can handle the heat, I say have a good pool day. Just make sure you're bringing your sunblock and water with you. High temperatures today in the mid-90s. I've got more coming up.
Well, it is win or go home for the Auburn Tigers. They face an elimination game against Stanford in the College World Series. First pitch is set for 1 this afternoon. Now, to reach the championship series, Auburn will need to win 4 games in 4 days. But the Tigers head coach says his team really needs to take it 1 game at a time.
See all these trees in the backyard and you tell somebody to go cut them all down. And I think we want to be the 5th team that's ever done that in history.
Now, since 1981, 4 teams have lost their College World Series opener before rallying to win a national championship. And WAAY 31's Matt Cohan will be giving us live updates from Omaha this evening on WAAY 31 Sports. Now, the Tigers aren't the only ones playing for a championship this year. The Rocket City Trash Pandas have secured a spot in the Southern League playoffs. The team clinched the best record in the North Division in the first half of the season. That's after a 7-2 win over Montgomery yesterday. Now, the playoffs do not start until late September, so until then, Trash Pandas still have plenty of regular season games. They can take it easy, but probably going to take a lot more wins. Well, they'll head back on the road tomorrow for a 6-game series against the Birmingham Barons. Meanwhile, out on the ice, Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Finals are tonight. The Colorado Avalanche have a 2-game lead over the Tampa Bay Lightning. The puck drops at 7 o'clock, and you can watch that game right here on WAAY 31. And last but not least, the Golden State Warriors celebrating their championship win today. There will be a parade in San Francisco for the team and for fans to celebrate. This is the Warriors' 4th title in recent years. The team also won the championship in 2015, 2017, and 2018. Well, it is almost time for our weekly WAAY 31 Law Call segment. Make sure to call us now at 256-536-0077 to get your legal questions answered. Well, breaking news just into the WAAY 31 newsroom. Israel's government will be disbanded. The country will now head to new elections. That election is expected in the fall and would be Israel's 5th in 3 years.
And good afternoon, Gunnersville. Take a look at this view. Barely a cloud in the sky. Absolutely beautiful this afternoon heading into your lunchtime. Temperatures for most of us in the mid-80s. Huntsville 85, Decatur 86, down in Haleyville. You're 84 right now heading into your lunchtime. So not too bad for us. WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network completely dry. Not one of our 3 radars is picking up on any storms or any showers in the area. So it's a good day to be outside if you can handle the heat. If you're walking the dogs, well, the time to do that sooner or much, much later. Try to stay inside during that peak heat of the day for those furry little feet. By the time we get to noon, temperatures there in the upper 80s at 1 p.m. We've officially reached the 90 mark, folks. Welcome to summer in North Alabama, right? All right, well, our high temperature today in the mid-90s. So if you're going to be out at the pool, it won't be too bad. It'll be warm, but not humid. So could definitely be bearable for us, but just make sure you bring your sunblock. Your sunburn time here, 15 minutes. So that UV is powerful. It is strong. Make sure you're staying safe and protecting yourself while you're out there. Now, we talked about that humidity being pushed away. It does come back tomorrow morning. So this puts us at Tuesday morning. Now, every morning, the most humid part of the day is first thing when you wake up. So this is really quite normal for us. The good news is, as we push into the afternoon, this puts us Tuesday at about 3 p.m. Plenty of that dry air has come back. That humidity has gone out of the way, and we are feeling pleasant again. Cloud cover really follows the same pattern there. A little bit of clouds tomorrow morning and into the early afternoon. But the good news is, by the time we get to about 4 p.m., most of those clouds are out of our way, and we've got another beautiful day on tap for us. Now, This sounds silly to say, but soak up these temperatures while you can, because Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I mean, we're talking upper 90s, triple digit temps there on Wednesday and Thursday. We sure will be warm, which means our heat index could be very, very high. Wednesday and Thursday there, we're talking about heat index near 104, possibility for a heat advisory even in the area. And if that is going to be the case, the best way to stay updated is by downloading the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker weather app. This app is updated every single day right here by our meteorologists, and it gives you updates based on your location whenever they're necessary. So make sure you have that app, staying prepared, and you have a way to get updates when you need them. So, excuse me, your 7-day forecast looks like this. Monday, high temperatures in the mid-90s, not too bad considering the rest of the week. Wednesday and Thursday, we're talking temperatures there in the triple digits. The good news is the sunshine is here to stay and the humidity's gone for quite some time. But check out those overnight low temperatures hanging out there in the low 70s. Honestly, not half bad for overnight lows.
Well, thank you, Grace. Time now to answer your legal questions. Make sure you call us now at 256-536-0077. Michael Timberlake with our friends at Timberlake and Lee joining us this morning. Good morning. How are you?
It's great to be here.
Good. Well, before we start, we actually already have a call in, so let's go ahead and head over to Denise with her legal question.
Yes. Thank you.
Sure.
I'd like to know if if a person is leasing a commercial building, is it that the owners are responsible for the air and heat system?
So if you're a tenant, so you have a tenant in a commercial building. So the tenant would, by the terms of the lease, may have the responsibility to maintain the HVAC system, or the landlord may have the responsibility. It just really kind of depends upon what the terms of the lease are. It can be done, either way. So that's, it would have to be the exact terms of the lease. You would be what you would look at.
Well, while we wait for more calls, once again, that number is 256-536-0077. Michael, kind of talk us through how you can find the right attorney for your case.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that we talk to people about all the time, is you want to make sure when you're looking for an attorney to hire an attorney that you hire somebody you're comfortable with. You want to be able to talk with that lawyer because you are trusting them to do important legal work for you. So make a relationship. You can. It's interesting. Even over Zoom or over the phone, talking to someone directly, you can get information about how you feel about them, how they, do they seem trustworthy? Do they seem knowledgeable? Do they seem experienced in the area that you need it? You can get that information. So you want to make sure you talk to a lawyer about that situation.
Well, we have Dale on the line for you. Dale, go ahead with your question.
Yes, the apartment complex next to my land had a big tree fall down in January. It landed in my yard, and they hadn't done anything to remove it. What should I do?
Well, I guess there's a couple ways to go about it. You can, if it fell onto your property, you can contact your homeowner's insurance company and see if there's coverage for you to remove that tree. If they'll hire somebody to come out and remove it. Now, it doesn't mean that the other property owner is going to get off scot-free. If it's a situation where the tree was, dying, or the apartment complex should have known that the tree was going to fall, then your insurance company could go against the apartment complex to try to get reimbursed for their costs associated with the removal of the tree. But if it fell on your property and it was a healthy tree, you have the responsibility to remove it, not necessarily the apartment complex.
256-536-0077. We still have a few minutes left. Michael, I know we talked a little bit about how to find the right attorney for your case. How do you even know you have a case in the first place?
Well, I mean, that's, one of the things that you need to talk to a lawyer about. I mean, our firm handles personal injury work. So whenever we get somebody, we say, just call a lawyer, talk to them. If you're curious, call a lawyer, call us, and we do initial consultations for free all the time.
Well, that is it for our time. But if you didn't get your question answered, remember you can always call our friends over at Timberlake and League. Thank you so much for joining us. Once again, that number is on your screen. If you haven't gotten your questions answered, their number 256-536-0770. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Well, new at midday this morning, Japanese courts ruled that their gay marriage ban is constitutional. 3 same-sex couples sued the Japanese government, saying the ban breaches a section of the Constitution that requires equal laws for everyone. Now, that lawsuit is now dismissed with this new ruling. It is the first time a court in Japan ruled on the matter.
Let us prepare for the biggest battle this kitchen has ever seen.
Well, the heat is on as Iron Chef comes back in a new commercial-free format. If you're like me, I love cooking shows, especially if it deals with a little bit of competition. Iron Chef Quest for an Iron Legend supersizes the cooking competition for the streaming era. Brown says with no commercials, there's a lot more storytelling involved about the chefs and where the food comes from. You can watch it now on Netflix. Now, I won't say I'm in love with this idea, but a new Disney live-action film may be coming to our future. Guy Ritchie, who brought the magical world of Aladdin to life 3 years ago, is now looking to go the distance and direct a live version of Hercules. No word on who will play the legendary strongman, but there's no doubt he'll go from zero to hero in no time. Now, call this man Mr. Brightside. The 67-year-old man took a spill at a concert in UK, and when he fell and hit his head while crowd surfing for the very first time, and the Killers frontman Brandon Flowers stopped by, as you can see here, to check up on him.
You know what he said? He said, I'm enjoying myself.
Like I said, Mr. Brightside. The band later tweeted about the charismatic crowd surfing, saying that there is no age limit for rock and roll.
And temperatures today sure are heating up. The sunshine is staying with us, but so is the heat. We're talking highs stay in the mid-90s. We get to triple digits later this week.
Well, for 24/7 coverage you can count on for local news, breaking news, and severe weather, go to WAAYTV.com. We'll make sure to see you again at 4. We'll have those updates on the College World Series, and make sure you stay cool out there as we track those hot temperatures. Once again, everything on our website, WAAYTV.com.